How long are you married?
I have been married for 14 years.
Good.
Yes.
Is this your second marriage?
Well, who counts? Numbers. Numbers.
Let's not get. All right, you can cut that part out. This sounds like it's going to get a little bit too.
I think I think you can relate. Like we both have kind of maybe outkicked our coverage. The last time I saw you was at WrestleMania 29 at MetLife.
Right.
You were. I have to kind of apologize.
Right.
You were there. My family was there.
Right.
And they'd come to you and asked if you would move one row back so that my family could come watch my match.
Oh, yes.
And you were gracious enough.
But I did it.
You did. You were gracious enough to move back. Well, the problem was, I was like, there's an iconic picture
Right.
of I'm actually laid out on a table and CM Punk's about to drop an elbow on me.
Right.
And I'm looking at this picture, and one of my dearest, closest friends was sitting with my family. His name's David. He works for Georgia Pacific.
Right.
And I'm looking at this picture, and I see him, and then I can see you trying to peek. He's got an enormous head.
Right.
And I can see, I can see you trying to peek around him, and I was like, "Are you kidding me? You couldn't squat down enough so Mr. Trump could see the match." But anyway, I have to apologize for the enormity of my one of my closest friends' heads.
Well, the big thing, we had the Battle of the Billionaires, and that was with Vince and me, and we each had our wrestler. He had Umaga.
Yeah, Umaga.
We had two good guys, and they wrestled, and fortunately my guy won, and the loser had the hair shaved. I said, I don't want to have my hair shaved. But we actually wrestled a little bit. You remember?
You mixed it up a little bit.
It was a pretty famous thing. But I think it has your all-time record for
pay-per-view buys.
For everything.
Yeah, it was a huge event.
Yeah, it was a big one. But you went down just before me, and the entrance into the ring is the greatest entrance into any arena that I've seen, okay? And I don't think it's going to even be topped. The whole thing of the music, the whole deal. And by the way, he's a dynamic guy. When he does this, he's very, slow and easy. And, so you're supposed to act, you're supposed to be a dead man. So, you're acting sort of dead.
Yeah.
And it's one of the greats. And that's why I'm surprised, because you're a quick guy. You move quick. But in the ring, he just sort of moved around. And you left just before us, and the place was going crazy. I said, that's a very tough act to follow. I'm not sure. And I didn't realize how big you were. I figured you were big, but not that big. So I'm standing with Vince, and they had other wrestlers in the room. It's like essentially the green room,
right,
up high.
Right.
And you walked by me and said, hello, sir. And I said, this guy is really big. How tall are you, by the way?
Right now, probably I've lost a little bit through the years, but I'm right at 6'8".
6'8".
Yeah, my disc have been a little bit compressed through the years.
You get compressed. Well, that's normal. They say you get compressed and your feet get bigger. Did you ever hear that?
Well, I've always had big feet. Yeah, my dad used to.
Have big
my dad used to tell me. He said, "You'd have been tall, boy, if you hadn't to give up so much for foundation."
That's right. But I said, this guy is really big, and you were wrestling a good guy that night. Do you remember?
I do remember.
He was a good specimen guy, and it was great. But I said, how do we beat this, Vince? What are you doing? Why don't we go before them? We should go before them. But we had that was a great evening, and I think it said, I don't know if it still has. I think it still has your record.
It was it was a big night. It was in Detroit. Yeah, and
well, I have a son who's 6'9". Can you imagine? I have a son who's an inch taller than if you say. So you were probably at super height, 6'9".
Yeah, I was probably 6'9". Right there at 6'9".
So 6'9", like 360.
330. I kind of topped out at 330. That was I felt like that was my.
And what do you weigh now?
I'm probably 305 right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's not bad, right?
No, it's easier. I'm trying not to replace any more joints. Right. So.
As a wrestler, you really lose a lot of joints, don't you? You really have.
Yeah, I mean, it's the body's not made to take that on and then most people don't realize the schedule that we kept back then too, which was on the road over 200 days a year, and that's in the ring. So
how do I've always wondered, because it's whether it's fun or entertainment, or you're still getting slammed around, right?
Yeah,
does that ring take great absorption? In other words,
well, it's funny that when Vince started getting in the ring and mixing it up a little bit, the rings got a little bit softer.
Yeah, right.
Before that, it would be just like taking a fall on this floor. I mean, they were really hard.
Well, how did you do that? So that was
it's a crazy thing, and you just condition your body to it where you don't even, after you do it so much, you just don't even think about it.
How often did it, I mean, I know you're supposed to interview me, but I find it very interesting. How often did it happen where somebody gets really angry? In other words, you hit a guy accidentally the wrong way or something, and he's had it. And these are tough guys to start off with. They're not babies. How often did it happen where you're fighting somebody and you made a mistake and he gets angry and he really goes at you?
Yeah, back in the day, like, so I started with Vince in 1990, but before that, in the late 80s and stuff like that, guys were really salty. And they didn't take too many, you're supposed to be a professional. And usually guys you think, well, if he hit me like that, then, it's for a reason. So, they'd mix it up in the ring for a little bit, and then they'd get back in the locker room.
And what would happen? The guys would run into the ring and stop it, right? I was told when you had a lot of guys running into the ring, that usually meant that there was a problem.
Usually, when that happens, it's part of the show. When guys are actually,
what stops somebody from going nuts and really, really starting a real fight?
Yeah, probably losing their job. I mean, you have to. What we do is hard enough, but if you go in there and start taking liberties with somebody, and are starting trouble and having fights, you're not going to be around long. I mean, you have to have a cohesive unit of guys. You don't have to like each other. I think it's like politics. You don't have to like each other, but you have to be professional enough to work with each other.
Did you like some of these guys a lot, or not really?
Yes, no. A lot of the guys I'm really close with, and then there's some guys that I don't care much for, but it's kind of like the way I wish politics would get back to.
Yeah.
I may not agree with you, but I can share a dressing room with you. I can shake your hand, and we can do business. And that's how it is. There's some guys that you kind of naturally you gravitate towards and become friends with. And I had a group of guys that we.
So how many years have you done it?
So I had a in-ring career of right at 34, 35 years.
I mean, that's amazing, and you're still in one piece. Right?
I'm in one piece. I got some new parts. I got some new knees. I got new hips.
Does every wrestler end up essentially having to get new parts?
At some point, usually you're going to have something that needs to be replaced. There's very few guys that get out unscathed, and that's.
You ever get hurt so badly that you basically can't continue the match, and you got to be like literally helped out and carried out?
It happens. It happens, and it's just part of what most people don't realize, Mr. President, is that although we're entertainment, but in any given match, you're 2 inches away from something really catastrophic happening.
Absolutely.
And then when you figure the amount of dates per year that you work, I mean, that really goes up exponentially. The risk factor.
So you'd work 200 days a year.
I had an 8-year stretch where I averaged about 220 days a year.
And then you can just keep going.
You just kind of get in that zone. Your body kind of gets used to the trauma, and you don't feel right. Actually, if you go home for too long, you kind of get restless, and your body feels too good, and you think, I got to go back to work.
That's a great. Well, you had a great career. Fantastic.
Well, I appreciate that. I really do.
People love you. That's why. So I heard they said, and I heard you were a fan. I don't want to say, but I heard you were like a political fan of mine, and I appreciated that. But I said he was such an incredible athlete, entertainer, because it's an entertainer. You have a lot of great athletes that can't entertain, you might as well forget it in your sport, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of, and that's what most people don't really grasp. I mean, you can be a great athlete and not excel. You've got to have the whole package. You have to basically, and I think you've been a master of this. You got to make people care. You got to make them care one way or another. Either they love you or they hate you.
So who do you think, outside of you, who do you think was the greatest combination of athlete, entertainer, et cetera, et cetera? Who was the greatest of the couple of greatest that you've seen? My
goodness, there's Stone Cold Steve Austin. Right. He was up there. You'd have to put Hulk Hogan in there, right. And Ric Flair. Right. Those are guys that just kind of off the top of my head could captivate you with what they had to say, deliver performance in the ring, and then. Now
you were much too young. Haystacks Calhoun, right?
Oh yeah.
Right? Did you ever? You were too young.
Yeah, a little before my time.
But he weighed like 500 or something.
He was a big man. He was a big man.
He was a big one.
Yeah.
Let's see. You had a lot of beauties out there.
I had my share of giants. That Vince used to feed them all to me when I first came up. Like if there was a giant, there was a monster.
Right.
They were coming my way first, and if I could work with him, then he would let Hogan or somebody else work. But I had to break them in.
Mark, in an economy like this,
yes,
something that you and I hate more than anything is debt.
Hate debt.
Debt is a bad thing. It's bad for our society. It's bad for the citizens. It's just bad for your finances.
It's bad for business.
Bad for business. Debt is a bad thing. But we partnered up with some friends of ours over at PDS. And let me tell you something. It's a very uncomfortable situation when you talk about debt. Nobody wants to talk about it.
Nobody wants to talk about debt.
Nobody wants to talk about it, but it's time to just be honest with yourself, and it's time to be honest with your finances. You're never going to get out of debt unless you become financially smart. And that's where PDS is going to help you out, okay?
What do they do?
Well, during the holidays, people get in more debt than any other time of the year. Last year, half of American consumers took on debt to pay for the holidays. This year, that could be you. Could be me. But it's never too early to start planning to get out of debt. And our friends at PDS Debt can help with a personalized solution just for you. If you're making payments every month on your debt and your balances aren't going down, PDS has the solution. Everyone with $10,000 or more in eligible debt qualifies. There's no minimum credit score required. Bad and fair credit accepted.
Wow.
Save more while paying off your debt in a fraction of the time. We've all been in debt.
Yep.
You were in debt when you started wrestling.
Oh my gosh. Yes. I was seriously, yes.
Just trying to make
major debt. Yeah.
Just trying to make it. You could have used PDS.
I could have really used PDS back then.
You couldn't get a good hotel room.
Hotel? What's that?
Credit cards maxed out.
All $300.
Struggling.
That limit I had. Yep.
Well, we want to let our listeners know, I want you to start planning today. We want to help you get out of debt. PDS wants to help you get out of debt. Get a debt-free analysis right now at pdsdebt.com/6feet. It only takes 30 seconds. That is pdsdebt.com/6feet. pdsdebt.com/6feet. Ladies and gentlemen, please get your finances in order. This is important. If there's ever an ad that's more important, this is the most important. This is very important.
Yeah.
Thank you, PDS, for sponsoring 6 Feet Under.
How's it doing now? Are there any great stars now?
Yeah, we're kind of getting into an era again. We had kind of a turnover where my generation moved out,
right.
And but we've got guys like Roman Reigns who just had an incredible title reign. We've got another young guy by the name of Gunther, who's going to be really special. Cody Rhodes is out there, the son of Dusty Rhodes.
Oh, good.
So yeah, the business itself is in a really, really, really good spot. And then we just had the merger with UFC and
Right, that's
TKO. Oh my goodness, yeah. It's been.
Do you know Dana White?
Oh yeah, I know Dana.
Will you be working with Dana at all? Or?
No, they're separate companies, but under.
So who's running it? Who's
Ari Emanuel is
Ari's excellent.
Yeah, he's the big dog, and Dana runs the UFC side, and then Nick Khan, he runs the WWE side.
Good. It's a very different kind of a thing, but very similar, actually, right?
It is. It really is. Obviously.
How do you do revenues there versus UFC? Is it
our revenue? I mean, right now it is crazy. They are selling out.
Your revenue, your revenue is
my revenue,
meaning for the wrestling.
Oh yeah, for
it's
wrestling,
well.
it's doing crazy.
Maybe better than ever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Isn't that incredible?
Yeah.
It really is. Sold out everywhere, and we're doing a lot of international stuff now. Merchandise.
So does that compare with UFC then in terms of revenue?
I don't really. I don't know their numbers very well, but I know that the stock is doing really well, and the company as a whole is doing really well.
It outperforms everyone on social media as well.
It's always
so the WWE social media outperforms NFL, MLB,
really,
NBA, everyone.
Wow.
Yes, over 100 million subscribers.
These are the characters. In other words, these are the people. Like your social media is very big, right?
I guess I'm not.
You're not into it.
Is my social media?
It's pretty big. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Who's the biggest on social media?
The Rock.
Oh, The Rock is Dwayne Johnson.
You know, he was great. I never thought he liked me, and I felt badly because I think he's a terrific guy. And then Dana White said when I was shot. Took a shot to the ear. You may have heard about it.
Yeah,
it's going to ask you about it.
I heard some rumblings about this. Yes.
Rock called Dana and said, I want to have his number. I want to have his number. What he did is sort of incredible. He considered it bravery. I don't know. To me, I considered it like, what's going on here? But it was very nice, actually, The Rock. So you might mention that I said that. Do you speak to him?
Occasionally, I saw him. I saw him in April. I was going to ask you.
He's doing great, right?
Yeah, he's a workaholic. There's no dust settles on him.
Yeah.
He's got his hands in a lot of different things. I was going to ask you. I mean, you're a billionaire. Yeah. You've got a beautiful wife, very intelligent. You've got a wonderful family. You got people shooting at you. You don't have to do this.
That's true.
I mean,
I don't have to.
You don't have to do this.
What am I doing sometimes? Why am I doing this?
But you are.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think people get in the media and everything else. They get everything so twisted. But it takes a special human being to sit on a podium, take a bullet, and get up, bleeding, with your hand raised in the air.
Yeah.
And let them know that, the moment right now is bigger than that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, what possesses you to put your life on the line when you don't have to? Yeah. You have a wonderful life and you've got a tremendous legacy.
Beyond that, I sometimes joke with the crowds because we get very big crowds. We had 107,000 in Butler. That's where the accident took place. We had 55,000 when we went back a couple of months later. We had just the other, 2 weeks ago, we had 107,000. We had 101,000 in California.
It's incredible.
3 days ago. Big crowds. And, abnormally big because no politician ever had these crowds. I don't even know what it is exactly. I can't explain it. Why am I getting, it's like, why? But I sometimes say, I don't have to be here with you. I could be in Monte Carlo and the beaches. I could have everything. I don't need this. But I'd rather be in Butler, Pennsylvania with you, And it's true, actually. Because, look, I have a lot of wealthy friends, and they go to these places, and, most of them are unhappy and all that stuff. But, I feel I have a purpose, and that's to rebuild our country. This country is doing so badly. The border, I mean, I don't know what your politics are or is, but your politics, just common sense. We have murderers pouring into our country. We have drug dealers pouring in. Just the border. There's many things wrong, but just the border. I think the border is worse than inflation. I think it's the biggest thing. To me, it's, like we're now in the middle. I don't know when this is going on, and I wish you luck with it. I know you're going to get high ratings. I used to think I was a big person, but I don't feel so big standing next to this guy. This guy is big.
Well.
But my son would feel better, although he's not quite as wide as you, I will say.
He'll grow into it.
He will be.
Yeah.
He will be someday. But I feel I have an obligation to do this. I had 4 great years. We had the best economy we've ever had as a country. We had the strongest borders we've ever had in recorded history. I guess they might have been very strong 1,000 years ago or something. But we had the strongest borders. We were hitting on all. I rebuilt the military, got the biggest tax cuts in history, got the biggest regulation cuts in history. Really doing great. And then we had a crazy election where I did much better than the first time. And if I didn't have that, I probably wouldn't have done this, because it showed that there's a lot of love out there. Got hit with COVID, the whole thing, the whole world got hit with COVID, which is the China virus to be exact, but and got hit hard. There's never been anything like it. Who would have ever thought the word pandemic? I heard the word, but you never thought it was like a modern day. You figure nowadays you take a shot and you're fine, right?
Right.
It goes, everyone is fine. But we had it's an ancient form of a disease. In 2017, it killed 100 million people. And we could have lost 100 million people too pretty easily. We lost many millions of people all over the world. So I got hit with that. We had a crazy election, which was, I won't get into it because I don't want to get you in any controversy, because you like no controversy. That election was so
There's not
rigged.
too many people.
We're here.
There's not too many people trying to argue with this guy.
No,
so.
that election, that's good. Nobody's going to say, hey, let's take it outside, right? No, but so I got more votes than any sitting president in the history of the country by millions, right? And they say we didn't win. It was a very, but it was a COVID thing. Look, you couldn't get security. Nobody wanted to go outside. Big guys like you would say, I'm not going to be secure. You couldn't get anybody. It was like people didn't want to die.
Right.
It was it was right in the middle of that. And now I'm running again and I'm leading. And I beat Biden, and they saw he was getting beaten. It's sort of like, it's a little unfair, and it's sort of not really what democracy is all about. But Biden got 14 million votes. He deserved to run it out and see. And they took it away. They actually took away his presidency, if you think about it. It was they call it a coup, but they actually took away his presidency, and they gave it to this one. And this one is worse than him. And we're leading now, but we have to see if we can do it. We got to do it. With him, I was leading by a lot. It was sort of over, and they went to him and they said, "You're not going to win, and we're going to replace you." You think of that.
I mean, that's a coup.
No, they took it away. Okay, now think of me. I spent $150 million. We're raging. We're doing great. We're against Biden. We have the debate. It was a good debate. He goes down, and now I have to fight somebody else. That's like you going into the ring, and you're beating the hell out of somebody, and they call up and they say, get that guy out of the ring, or put somebody else in for a while.
Right, yeah.
Right? You got to fight 2 guys instead of one.
It's a good analogy.
So we have a second one that we started. Well, no, but the whole focus was on this one man, because it's a one man, it's one thing. And then the debate was like a big deal. And that's over. And you think you have it won, and all of a sudden they replace. And then the new person always has a honeymoon period. So she got 6 weeks of a honeymoon period. Everybody thought good. They didn't think good of her before. In fact, she was the last of 13 people that was going to be chosen, but they wanted to be politically correct, so they picked this person. And she's not qualified. She got no votes. She dropped out. She ran against Biden, and she dropped out. She got no votes. They had 13 people. She was number 13, and they picked her. And I guess that's okay. I don't know. The process is pretty crazy. When they say threat to democracy, that's really a threat to democracy.
Yeah,
I'm not a threat to democracy. That is.
I guess you need to ask Joe Biden what a threat to democracy is at this point.
Oh,
right?
He's an angry guy.
So, Mr. President, with the fact that, in the polls right now, you've got Fox, you got CNN, you got all these different polls out there that nobody really knows what to trust and what not to trust. But there's polls out there like with Poly Market where people could literally bet on the actual election, and it's from the people. You're up by 20%. Now, a month ago, you were only up by 10%, and there's been over $2.1 billion that has been put on you to win this election from the people. And you've tweeted about it. You've been talking about Poly Market. Why do you think there's been such a swing in this and the odds right now of you winning over Vice President Harris?
Yeah, I think they got to know her, that she's incompetent, that she's a Marxist. You could say communist. A lot of people don't know what a Marxist is. But they say, could you use another word? I said, how about communist?
Doesn't get any better, does it?
I don't think you're a big communist fan.
No,
what do
I'm
you
not.
think?
No.
I don't think he is. I hang out with him a good bit. I don't think he is. Yeah.
I'm from Texas. We don't have those there.
Yeah. You know, when I first met you, you were walking down to getting ready to walk down to the ring. And I was surprised at how big you were. And the other wrestlers were in the room. And I was going to be following him. And they all called him Taker. And they said, it was sort of cool. They said, have a good time, Taker. They were talking about Taker. And I said, that's a cool name. They don't call him Undertaker. They say, you know, they're your friends. Right?
Yep.
The other wrestlers are sitting around waiting. And they're saying, have a good time, Taker. He said, I will indeed. I will indeed. I said, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, Taker's a little
they
easy.
call you Taker?
Yeah, they either call me Taker or Dead Man.
Yeah.
Those are a couple of my
Dead Man.
But yeah. Thank you, DraftKings, for sponsoring this episode. UFC 308 is coming down this weekend in the Octagon, and you are not going to want to miss it. You could make fight night even more exciting by getting into the action with my partners at DraftKings. And right now, all new customers who bet $5 will instantly get $200.
That's a great value.
That's $200 in bonus bets, buddy.
Can't beat it.
That's big time from DraftKings right there. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and sign up using my promo code 6 feet.
Yes, sir.
The crown
Is yours.
money.
Thank you, DraftKings.
I was going to, not to go back to a sore subject, but back to Butler. I was curious if you were going to have maybe a portrait made out of the chart and hang it on the wall at Mar-a-Lago.
You know, there have been so many portraits of, and some are genius and some are terrible. You know, it's like, it's got to be the most, you know, look, it's amazing because I'm alive. It's not supposed to be, you're not supposed to be alive for iconic. But they say it's the most. I think Iwo Jima was right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
They took a lot of bullets.
Yes.
Putting up the flag, right? But I will say that I have never seen anything like it. I get paintings every day for paintings. Some are really good, and some aren't good. Some are not great artists. But I've never seen anything like it, actually. I had that with my mugshot, but to a lesser extent. The mugshot was big.
That was a big seller.
No, the mugshot. I had the mugshot. So who was number one was Elvis Presley. Did you know that? He was arrested for something. And that was the biggest. And then Frank Sinatra was second. A lot of big mugshots. He got into a brawl had to do with the booze and women.
They'll do it every time.
And that can do it
every time.
It's a bad combination, right? That'll do it.
That'll do it.
Never for you, though.
No, sir.
Are you a drinker at all?
I've been known to partake in a drink or two. Not as much now as I used to, but I've pulled it back a little.
So we had that crazy mugshot, and as soon as I saw it, I said, "That's really unusual." When I went in, I said, "I wonder, do I smile and say screw you, or do I just act angry?" And I thought the smile wasn't appropriate. A lot of people said, "You know what you do? Just smile." I didn't, so I was scowling. And he knows all about scowling. That's what he did. He scowled.
I made a career out of scowling.
I made a big career out of scowling. But anyway, so I did. But that thing went crazy. It was like 400 million hits. But this picture, I think, is even maybe bigger, right? This picture.
It's such a... Yeah.
I see myself being shot every single day, no matter when. now I just left. I was watching something, and they have this picture on the whole act. You know, the whole thing, where, you know, from the time you get shot, you know, and I'm following my hand down, and somebody obviously is screaming, "Get down! It's bullets!" Right? Because otherwise it's almost too perfect because of what you followed it.
Right.
But I look at my hand, there's blood all over my hand. I said, that's either the biggest mosquito in history or I got shot.
You know, Butler's got some big mosquitoes, right?
Butler's, probably does.
Mr. President, what was the conversation with your family afterwards, though? Because that's a scary situation.
I knew that it's funny, you know, the surreal experience kind of thing.
Right.
Where, I don't know if you've ever experienced it, but a lot of people do, where something happens that's so big. And don't forget, I had thousands and more than you have in wrestling matches, you know, times 3 if you fill up an arena. You know, I had thousands of people out there. So, number one, it's sort of embarrassing. You know, you're speaking and all of a sudden you're getting down on the floor. A lot of amazing things happen. Number one, you could call them fans, but the Patriots, they're really Patriots. They didn't move. And there were a lot of shots fired, at least 8, right? That's a lot. And the crowd control experts said that, one in particular said it's amazing because when they hear bullets, they know bullets, the fans break up and they stampede. And they really stampede. And people get killed from, nobody left. You saw that with a small group behind me. You know, the group behind me was relatively small. The people were all out there. Thousands of, you couldn't even see the end of it. And when I got hit, I went down, and then Secret Service was very brave, I have to say. They were all jumping on top, and the bullets were flying right at him. And then he got taken out by the sniper. The sniper got him from a long distance, one shot. Amazing. Yep. If he doesn't get him, you got a lot of people dead. But the Secret Service sniper was amazing. And we believe also the local police hit the barrel of the rifle and splintered the hell out of it. But if they don't get him, and they got him. But if they don't get him, you probably have a lot of dead. We lost 1, and 2 were very badly hurt. We thought they were both going to be gone, and they both made it. Great doctors, doctors. You know, country type doctors, right? They were great. You couldn't have had any better. They saved them. They're good. But it was. Surprisingly, you know, when I think back on it, I was on the floor. I had blood pouring all over the place. You would know this better than anybody in the world, probably. They say when your ear gets damaged, it's the bloodiest thing.
It's very bloody, yeah.
And it has to do with cartilage. If your ear gets cut or damaged, it's very bloody, and, you know, you probably...
Yeah, I've had mine split. Yeah,
more so than like anything else, which is surprising. But I was loaded up with blood. But I was down, and they thought I got hit numerous times all over the place. And I said, nope, I got the ear. I want to get up. Get me up. I'm screaming, where are my shoes? Because my shoes got knocked off. When they jumped, I mean, they hit pretty hard. They were there fast. They were very brave.
They were.
And I don't know how that happened, but my shoes got ripped off. So, it wasn't a surreal experience. It was, I knew everything that was happening. It was amazing. Did you see the one where my face was just off the ground and the blood's pouring all over the place?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, these are some crazy shots. This was not supposed to be my life. This is supposed to be his life. Okay,
I don't mind bleeding. I'd just rather it not come from bullets.
So, Mark, you know, we had to look good for today.
Well, we try. We ain't got a lot to work with.
I put shoes on.
You've proven that you own.
I own closed-toed shoes.
Yeah,
you put a jacket on. So I mean, you know, that's the thing. And you know, for us, we've got facial hair, and we need to look good, and we got to be clean. And that's why our guys over at Manscaped, they hooked us up, man. They got us cleaned up today. We're looking good. They gave us the beard hedger, and I'm gonna be honest with you, Mark. I'm clean upstairs and downstairs because of Manscaped.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You mowed the bushes, huh?
Oh,
you cut the bushes.
We trimmed the hedges.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Nice and smooth up top and downstairs.
Yeah. You know, I mean, that's kind of some sensitive.
It's a sensitive area.
It's a sensitive area, and it's hard. It's hard to cut yourself. You can't do it.
Not with Manscaped. I'll be honest with you. There was a time in my life I was absolutely scared that to shave down there, to a point where I thought that, like, if I cut the sack, that they would just fall out. I didn't understand anatomy very well.
I guess so. That's South Carolina education.
Manscaped came to the rescue, and I'm going to tell our fans a little bit about how they can also get hooked up with some Manscaped. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not a bird. It's not a plane. It's a ball trimmer from space.
Sweet.
That's it. Gentlemen, our friends over at Manscaped have been working night and day to bring you a below-the-waist grooming experience like none other. With their brand new Performance Package 5.0 Ultra, to a point where, like, we can't even get our hands on one yet. They're that new.
When are we going to get ours?
Hopefully soon. Hopefully soon. I mean, these things are they're just brand new. They're that new. It's featuring the Lawnmower 5.0. We're talking about a next generation trimmer with interchangeable blade heads for whatever shave your mind can imagine. Mark, it's time to upgrade your grooming game to the Ultra Sphere this year by going to manscaped.com for 20% off. Plus,
how much?
You get 20% off plus free shipping. You know how you get that?
How do you do it?
Use code 6feet. It's high tech for low spaces at Manscaped.
See how they did that?
Oh, yeah. So all they got to do is go to manscaped.com, get 20% off plus free shipping. And what's the code, Mark?
6 feet.
That's it.
He's going to be shocked when he sees his ratings. He's going to get that big. He's going to get ratings like him.
His wife doesn't want him to get back in the ring, so we've got to get these ratings.
Are you going to? Okay,
No, sir,
well, let's ask about
There's
that.
no chance. There's no chance.
I
of that
almost feel
happening.
like I'm doing the interview no, because it's interesting to me. Where's our big man? Where's our next
Big
governor?
red machine
Look at the
over
size of
there,
that guy.
yeah.
He's
Yes,
going to be the next governor of Tennessee.
How did you become such a fan of wrestling?
I love sports, and I knew Vince and this and that. I guess it goes back a long way. I held 3 or 4 WrestleManias.
Yeah, 3 and 4 were at.
I think so.
Yeah.
And they were good ones.
Yes.
They were really good ones. It was hot as a pistol then. It's sort of always been hot, but I think it was really hot. And I don't think I did the first one, but I did maybe 3 and 4.
3 and 4.
it was
It's the
4.
only. Yeah, it was the only time that it's been in the same place 2 years in a row.
3 and 4. In fact, it was so good I wanted the second one, right? But and it was a tremendous success. It was great. And really, Dana White and Vince are really 2 guys. They're very unique people. Dana's incredible.
Yeah.
And different, it's different kinds. It's actually a much different product in a certain way, even though it's,
No,
the
no, it
fighting
is.
stuff.
Yes. Yeah.
It's a much
completely-
different
yeah.
product. But they sort of have some qualities that are very, very similar. But Dana's done an unbelievable job, and Vince preceded him by a little bit. But boy, what a job he did!
Yeah, he really did create just a global juggernaut with WWE and
So the combination sounds like it's a good combination, right?
so far it's really been amazing, and I think they've only really scratched the surface to how far this is going to go. I mean,
Well, Linda McMahon I picked, who really helped Vince a lot over the years. A lot of people don't know that, and she's a fantastic woman. She's been a big supporter from the moment, from the very beginning. And she was the head of small businesses, which is big business, basically,
Right.
small business administration. And she did a fantastic job. Everybody loves her, special woman. And I know she was involved with the WWE. So it used to be WWF, right?
Yes, sir.
And they just couldn't get that name back, which was amazing, right? They couldn't.
Well, I
Did
think
it make
eventually-
a difference? Do you think it made a difference? WWE, WW. Now I guess with time it's okay.
With time, it's
but it
just
was
kinda-
hard to get used to it.
Yeah,
Right?
at first, yeah, it really was. I just think it got into the big deal with I think it was the World Wildlife Fund, and I just think he was like he seized the moment and said, you know what, it's time for it's time for a little bit of change, and it wasn't worth fighting it in the court and tying all that up.
And they were being absolutely very tough, right?
Yeah, and I don't think anybody was going to confuse World Wrestling Federation with the World Wildlife Fund. I mean, it was just semantics, I think.
Did he lose that case?
He just chose not to. He just let it go, and that's
in the
why.
end, he did the right thing. But I remember at the beginning, it was so awkward to say WWE, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah.
It was really unbelievable.
Because originally it was the WWWF.
Yeah.
And then they took a W off, and then it was like a whole new facelift kind of a deal with the WWE. We'd changed our branding and the way everything looked, so it ended up working out for the better.
So tell me, what are you doing here with this stuff? So you have a big name, you have a lot of fans. Mm-hmm. When you asked me to do this, I said I'm going to do it because I'm a fan. You know, I really think you've done a great job. What is this? So tell me what this is all about.
So
it's a platform.
It's my podcast. This guy here, I don't know, 8 years ago, he works for a veteran-owned and operated company, Nine Line. Very patriotic.
Best apparel company ever.
And
what is it? Best what?
Apparel company ever.
Oh, is that right?
We're veteran-owned and operated. Yes, sir.
Oh.
Give back charity. I've built 50 tiny homes for homeless veterans.
What apparel is it? What kind of apparel?
It's patriotic apparel. It's just T-shirts.
So you know all about the Trump apparel then, right?
Yes, sir. We actually made a shirt for Corey, who was tragically killed in Butler that day. And
I see.
we were able to raise a lot of money for his family. Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah. But we teamed up with this guy who used to wear our shirts. And
so how long has that been going? How is it?
So we've known each other for what?
7, 8 years.
7, 8 years, and he says, you got this platform. Yeah. Like I wrestled. I'm a wrestler. I did it for over 30 years, and he's like, he says, you've got this huge platform. You need to do something with it. And my wife was the same way. She was like,
how long are you married?
I have been married for 14 years.
Good.
Yes.
Is this your second marriage?
Who counts? Numbers.
Numbers. Let's not get. All right, you can cut that part out. This sounds like it's going to get a little bit too.
I think I think you can relate. Like we both have kind of maybe outkicked our coverage.
So much for that question. Yeah. We'll take that question off. The answer started getting a little bit long. There's bad things coming out of that.
Numbers.
See, this is good. This is the Donald Trump that people really don't get to see.
Mark.
Yes, sir.
After you do an episode with the president,
yes, sir,
you got to celebrate.
Well, I intend on it.
Oh yeah, and you know what? Tonight, I'm going to do some celebrating.
Are you?
Oh, yeah.
Do tell.
I came to New York packing.
Oh.
Packing them Bluechews.
Bro, what?
Got them little after dinner mint.
Oh, you talking about celebrating.
Oh, we going to celebrate good times.
Come on.
Oh, yeah, it's happening tonight.
It's a celebration.
It's happening tonight because of our friends over at Bluechew.
Man,
yeah.
I tell you what.
You know what hit me with that motto. Chew it
and do it.
Oh yeah. Bluechew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra.
Dang.
But in a chewable tablet.
That's packing a punch, brother.
Oh, and it comes at a fraction of a cost. I love a good deal. You can take them anytime, day or night. I took one earlier. So you can plan ahead or be ready whenever the opportunity arises. The process is simple. All you got to do is go to bluechew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days.
Days?
Oh, yeah, days. That quick. Quick turnaround. The best part is it's all done online. Discreet.
Oh, so you ain't got to worry about any uncomfortable
conversations.
Yeah.
No doctor's visits.
Yes.
Very discreet.
Very, very discreet.
And you know what? We had the President of the United States on here. You know what's great about Bluechew? They're made in the USA.
Made in the USA.
Right here in America. God bless it. It is shipped direct to your door in a discreet package. Bluechew wants to help you have better, well...
How should we say?
You know.
Yeah.
You know.
Chew it.
And do it. Discover your options at bluechew.com. And we got a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use our promo code.
Wait. What?
Oh, you're going to try it for free. Oh, yeah. You're going to get that first try for free. Yeah. The date's going to cost you more.
How do you do
the
that?
date's going to cost you more. Well, all you got to do is use promo code 6feet at checkout. All you got to do is pay $5 in shipping. That's bluechew.com.
That's easy.
Promo code 6feet to receive your first month free. Visit bluechew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring 6 Feet Under.
I think you need to show more of this part of you, because I really think, you're a guy's guy and a sports fan, and I know you got to have that. I know you got that tough guy persona and that bravado, but I think this is good. This is fun, and I think you know what you've done. You've made politics fun again.
Yeah.
And I just think some people get caught up in the fact that I think they look at politics now kind of like a wrestling story, and they can't separate. They can't separate reality.
Well, it's so interesting because, and I can't explain exactly why, but so we'll go to places and have 100,000 people show up, and I don't have a card, and I'm not a wrestler. And when I felt your arm, I said I wouldn't have been a very good wrestler. It wouldn't. You get big, strong arms on top of everything else. But and I'll get a crowd of 100,000 people coming about politics. If Ronald Reagan came back and he went to some of the places that I go to, he'd have 250 people or 340, and that's very, very good. And they do it in a ballroom someplace, and I'm getting like 50, 60, 100,000 people. It's crazy. And it's like a love of the country, because, it's hope. It's something going on. It's something very amazing. So now we're in the middle of the election period. I mean, it's actually started. The voting actually started after 4 years. Because if I didn't feel I won by a lot the last election, I wouldn't do that. Because if you lost, you lost. It's okay, you lose. It's easier in a way to just say, okay, I'm getting on with my life, and maybe I'll go to those beaches or do what I want to do.
There's golf to be played.
Yeah, golf too. Do you play golf?
I'm a frustrated golfer.
I would think you would hit a long ball if you hit it.
When I hit it, it goes a long way.
Yeah,
I'm just not the. And that's another. I don't want to cut you off, but I mean, like, who shoots at a guy who's got a 3-foot putt for birdie?
Right.
Now, who does that?
Right.
I mean, is that right? You had a 3-foot putt for birdie, and a guy starts popping shots off at you?
Yeah, well, that was the second time. Yeah, I'm standing over a putt. He could have at least let me putt it out, right?
I mean, come on.
It actually wasn't him. That was the Secret Service agent. The guy did a good job. He saw a barrel coming out. Can you believe it? AK-47. That's a big one, right?
Yeah.
And he saw a barrel coming out from behind a bush. The guy's buried in a bush, very lush course. And the Secret Service, he did an amazing job. He's walking down a hole ahead of me, and he sees a barrel coming out of a bush. And he didn't talk. He started shooting because he said, that's not good. And he started shooting. And the guy wasn't hit, but he dropped his gun, and he ran across the street, got into a car. Now listen to this one. A woman, it could only be a woman because men maybe aren't smart enough, right? A woman sees this guy running. He's running across the street. Now, who would do this? It's fairly busy street, big, Congress. And she sees him and she said, he's suspicious. I see people running all the time that don't look so hot. But she follows him for 1 block. He gets into the car. She stops her car, starts taking pictures of his license plate, and starts taking pictures of the type of car it was. It was a van of some kind. And she then takes the pictures and sends them to the sheriff. Who would do this? And the sheriff says, wow, because they just had an incident. It only happened 3 minutes before.
Wow.
So the sheriff then gets a picture, and he just had a call that there's this big deal going on. And 2 minutes later, he gets a picture of a car and a license plate sent by the one. who would do this? I said to the sheriff, if this happened 1,000 times, how many people would follow a guy that's running down the street, stop and take pictures? And there's some kind of a chip or something on the license plate that if they have the license plate, they can track you down. Did you ever know that? I never heard of that.
I didn't.
There's some kind of a deal that if they have your license plate, they can find you. And they have him speeding down a highway, and they got him and nabbed him fast. But think of that, because he could be out there. And I wouldn't want to have a guy out there that, just dropped an AK-47 and ran, and he's out there. And they got him. And, he's got some problems, bad guy. But think of that. Who would think that somebody would take pictures of somebody's license plate because they saw him and he didn't look right? And a woman did this. Incredible woman. But I said to the police, I said to the sheriff, who's great, I said, Sheriff, how many times, out of 1,000 times, how many times would somebody do that? He said, maybe none.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's so crazy, right?
Yeah, it really is.
So it was a pretty wild time, and hopefully we're going to have a great election. We'll straighten out the country, we'll straighten out the border. We have a lot to straighten out. This has been the worst president in history. This is the worst vice president in history. She's worse than he is. And you never know. It's an election. You never know. Maybe somebody likes her. I think we should be in good shape. We knocked him out. Now we have to knock her out. And we'll get it back. And I do it because we're going to make America great again. It's very, we have a MAGA. You know all about MAGA.
I've heard about it. Yeah.
It's basically
MAGA. What?
It's basically
Make America Great Again. As a slogan. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah.
I think I heard of it. I think I heard of it.
It's been pretty successful.
Definitely.
No, it's the greatest movement in the history of the country. And when I say that, if it was wrong, the press would kill. They don't. I say this is the greatest movement. They have to say, I guess that's right. Nothing even close. Maybe the greatest movement in the history of any country. But we have, and they're all fans of yours, by the way. We have probably 200 million people, if you think about it.
Wow.
Right? Could be more than that. A majority of the country. And they want to see. And when Biden went out, on occasion, say, we will stop MAGA, we will stop. They say, no, that's make America great again. He's going to stop MAGA. So anyway, it's been very successul. But now we're in the middle of an election, right smack in the middle, right?
Well, we're in the home stretch.
We have 19 days left. But the voting starts, Voting should be one day and should be 19 days or 20 days. It should, we have something I think that's going to be special. The numbers are very good, but who knows? You have to just keep working. And it's an honor to do the show with you guys.
Well, sir, that means a lot to us, and giving us this opportunity. We're not journalists, and
I turned down 60 minutes, and I'm doing your stupid show.
And we're doing you're doing a professional wrestling podcast.
That's all right.
We're not journalists, and we're really not that great podcasters either. But we get people that watch us. But I do have. I have one question. And earlier, you were very gracious, and you met. You met my family and they're sitting over there. My political interests, Title IX. You met my daughter.
Yes.
What are we gonna do, or what are you gonna do if elected to protect the integrity of women in sports, and continue on with just the fair play? And I don't mean to put you on the spot, and I appreciate
it's a
everything.
Simple question. To me.
But I want to put a face to it. If you can I bring my daughter?
Absolutely.
Okay, come here.
Wow, such a beautiful. That's what I call a beautiful daughter. Huh?
Thank you. She is, and she's quite the quarterback too.
But you don't want to go and wrestle a guy like if you were doing that, because people do that, like your father, right? He's a little too much to handle, right? No, I will get rid of it fast. Men playing in women's sports is insane, okay? It's insane. I mean, I assume I can't even imagine anybody thinking anything other. Like, you have to have borders, right? You have to have fair elections. Where are the people that want it? Have you ever met anybody that said, we want men playing in women's? You know, I've never met anybody. I know there's got to be some kind of a movement. I'm going to terminate that immediately. I'll terminate it. I'm not going to let it happen. Yesterday, a volleyball player got hit.
Oh,
female team where somebody transitioned. And you don't think of volleyball. She got hit. Now, this guy, this was a man who transitioned to a woman, and they showed the shot. And it was all girls. There were girls. Older, you know, like 18, 19, 20. Very good players, like All-American type players. I think a college team or something. And they had the one guy on the one team, and he was up so high in the air, and he smashed that ball. You know, you don't see that. And this ball came at her at a speed that she's never seen, get really whacked her. But other volleyball players were hurt. But the best is weightlifting, where you see a record that stood for like 15 years, and they're putting, you know, 1/8 of an ounce on each side of the bar. You know this better. And then some person that transitioned to a female from a male, have you lifted before? Not much, no. Well, here we are. So he got, you know, then they added like 100 pounds to it. He still lifted. Yeah. So it's crazy. The swimmers too. Look at the swimmers. Yeah. I mean, the swimmers, it's ridiculous.
Yes.
So, and I think it's very demeaning to women. But, you know, she wants to play sports and she wants to play against women. You don't necessarily want to play against men. You know, it's okay, but you don't want to do it. Did you see the boxing match at the Olympic boxing? Did you see the guy?
I did. It was.
Did you see that beautiful Italian girl? She's supposed to be a good boxer. She took just a left jab. The guy's up, he goes, boom. That's like a defensive punch. So it goes like that. I never saw it quite like that. She didn't actually go down. She walked back to her corner. She said, I just got hit harder than I've ever been hit before.
It was ridiculous.
The corner pushes her back out. You can do it, you can do it. But he goes with another left jab, and she walked off. She said, there's no way I can beat that. Now, there were two people in the Olympics, because I didn't even know they have female boxing. There were two people that transitioned into women. Both of them won the gold medal. Shockingly. Are you shocked to hear that?
Imagine that, right?
How would you like to play this guy? Okay, he decides to transition. I don't think we have to worry about it. Somehow, I don't think we have to worry about it. But this would not be pleasant. Anyway, it's been great being with you guys.
All the pleasures is ours.
Sir, thank you.
Daughter.
Thank you for
very
that.
much.
And I just, as going to this home stretch, I know you're extremely busy. I think you have to go to Michigan now. I just appreciate you giving us the opportunity, and thank you for taking care of women's sports.
Well,
Obviously, it's near and dear to my heart.
It's. I'll bet you're going to be a good athlete, right?
Yes.
Are you good now? Very good. What sport do you play other than the football?
So right now I'm just playing football because it takes up a lot of my time. But I think when I get to school, I think I'm gonna start playing volleyball.
What position do you play in football?
Quarterback.
Whoa, that's good. And you have good hands for that, I see, huh?
She's got a pretty good arm.
She's got a little bit of an arm, huh? That's
Yes.
good. Well, I'll be watching, okay? I'll be watching.
It'll be in the Olympics in 2028.
Now, you have to do me a favor. Tell your father that we had a great time. We're sitting down, and we look a little bit equal. Tell your father not to show any picture where we're standing up together because I don't want to look like a small person. Do you understand? Will you tell him that?
Yes.
You'll watch that for me?
Yes, sir.
Okay? Do you understand that, everybody? Because I've never felt that small before. Anyway, it was great, fellas. Great.
Thank
Good
you.
luck.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
You're something very special. Take care of yourself.
We really appreciate it. Thank
We'll
you.
see you again. We'll see you again. Get out and vote. Thank
Please,
you very
yes,
much.
everyone.
That was fun.
Mark,
What?
who would have ever thought?
Not me.
Well, buddy, congratulations. And
Did
there's
that
only
just
one-
happen?
That just happened. The President of the United States. And thank you, Happy Dad, for helping support this podcast. And man, there's only one way to celebrate this.
Cheers,
Thanks, brother.
brother.
Thanks, Happy Dad.
Man, that's good.
We're going to have a good time tonight.
Yes, we are.